What is up, Nutsacks? JJ back here from Run Pure Bets with another free pick for you. This time it's going to be in the NFL for Thursday Night Football on September the 16th. Games will be played between the Washington football team and the New York Giants. Current betting spread is Washington -3, total 40.5. So, first week is in the books. I went 1-2 with the last Thursday Night Football video, minus 0.55U, as I've mentioned, the first few weeks of the year. Going to be half unit on everything. The stab on O.J. Howard to land in the box at 3-1 was the difference. But I'll tell you, look, the first week was a fun one, as expected, right? I mean, Urban Meyer gets embarrassed in his debut. Mahomes comes back from double digits late. What else is new? The Packers didn't even show up to the Saints game. Stafford appears to have finally found the right home. And Derek Carr, again in primetime, does not disappoint. Now, look, we roll into week 2. This is often the biggest overreaction week of the season in the NFL. You know, I mean, you watch week 1 and, the Packers are terrible. Josh Allen's regressed. The Rams are going to the Super Bowl and Lamar Jackson still can't pass. Look, it's 1 week, folks. 5 to 6 weeks from now, you'll see how different, your perceptions look. Happens every year, yet people continue to go down the same path after week 1, making reckless claims over teams after watching, one game of football. Needless to say, take a deep breath and remember it is 1 game, 1 week. Let's not overreact. We are rational humans, right? Speaking of rational, I'm gaining weight like a rhinoceros. You'd think like all I eat these days is Krabby Patties. I did find the solution though. Figure I'll just eat like ice cubes for the next 2 months. That'll probably fix like 5 years of bad eating, right? Like I said, rational. All right, look, let's talk this matchup between Washington and New York. Quite a few different ways to look at this game. This has the making of a complete dogfight, right? And while scoring may be a premium, it is never fun betting unders at 40. You can accidentally go over that number, right? I mean, speaking of a dogfight, I do like the dog here, catching the hook. In what should be a good game overall, nice little back and forth. I know many are high on Washington this season, especially on that D-line. Shame what happened with Fitzpatrick, though. But look, Heinicke should fill in. I don't want to say admirably, but he should fill in all right. This line, though, is quite disrespectful to the Giants. Both teams lost week 1, but not all losses are created equal, correct? It sucks for this Giants team, though, who plays back-to-back great defenses to start the year. I actually really like the Giants catching the points here. So, but I like the alternate line at 3.5, -120 at FanDuel in New Jersey. Again, 0.5U, for those wondering. I know, big balls. So are the Giants, right? Because they suck, right? Here's what I know. I know this Giants team beat Washington twice last year with no Barkley. Now, I'm not a running back guy, but I mean, so it's likely doesn't matter all that much. But this offense did also improve with grabbing Kenny Galladay. And this O-line, though, is in for a toughie here for sure against this Washington pass rush. Now, Daniel Jones' mobility is going to be a big factor here. He fumbles way too often, and his decision-making at times is very below average. But he can be quite the playmaker at times, and Jason Garrett has put him in pretty favorable positions. At least last year he did. Now, this first game wasn't great, but I don't look at that as that big a deal because that Denver secondary is super impressive. And that's just not exactly the recipe for Daniel Jones. Also, the Denver has an above-average pass rush as well, so mixed together, this Denver defense is going to be one of the best in football this season. Either way, Giants looked bad a few days ago, but the Denver defense can do that, or will do that to a lot of teams this year. Washington's really just the D-line. Don't get me wrong, they have an above-average secondary, but it's not nearly as good as Denver's is. Daniel Jones, regardless, has to protect the football in this one. Goes without saying, right? But it starts with the game plan coming in, and I have confidence that Jason Garrett, as their offensive coordinator, will put Jones in a good spot here, as I feel like he's done very often last year. When you consider Washington's situation at quarterback, Antonio Gibson is currently dealing with a case of the fumbles. I find it hard to imagine Washington's going to go up and down this field with any ease. Terry McLaurin's a threat, but I expect some type of Bradbury-Jackson mixed combo on him. The Giants' defense was underrated last year, and they're underrated again coming into this season. Last week versus Denver, Bridgewater did really well on a lot of 3rd and longs, and they were 4 for 4 on 4th down conversions, or 3 for 3. The Giants were elite on 1st and 2nd down defensively in that game. If they bring that same level of defensive play here versus Washington, it'll force Heinicke into a lot of 3rd and longs, and Washington will be punting often. Now, speaking of doing well, Herbert was able to buy time against his pass rush with his legs, find guys downfield all game long. I think he threw for like 340 yards-ish. Against this secondary. Now, Daniel Jones is an obvious step down there, especially passing. But look, Jones has weapons all around him. In terms of secondaries, believe it or not, on the other side, Giants have one of the league's best. So it's definitely an edge for the Giants coming in for sure. Now, I like Jason Garrett to have this offense in better shape versus Washington. A team they did really well against twice last year. Washington deserves to be favored here, but not by 3.5. Now, look, so give me the Giants plus 3.5, minus 120 at FanDuel. Also, player prop I like Taylor Heinicke over 18.5 rush yards. Got that minus 120 at DK. Like this all the way up to 21.5 at the same vig. Heinicke was quite a rusher at Old Dominion with his limited NFL starts. He's shown his legs. Only 17 yards in his last game, but remember he did miss almost a full quarter and a half, as Fitzpatrick did start that game and exited in the second quarter. I must say that when I bet QB rush props, I like guys when they're playing a good defensive line. A good D-line forces mobile quarterbacks out of the pocket, which gives them more opportunities to run. It's kind of an issue here, though, because the Giants' D-line is likely not going to put a whole lot of pressure on Heinicke, but this Washington O-line isn't excellent by any means, so they still could. And again, this Giants secondary is super underrated, so at minimum, I expect Heinicke to want to move with his legs. Expect this number to move up before game time, and at worst, you'll likely have some hedge room. Heinicke looks to run often, and they even run a read option with him from time to time. So I really like the spot. So again, it's Giants plus 3.5 minus 120. Got that at FanDuel as an alternate spread. And Taylor Heinicke over 18.5 rush yards. Got that minus 120 at DK, both for half unit. May the odds be ever in our favor. Week 3 in the NFL is when I'll start to bump up to full unit wagers. Just too much added variance early on. But don't worry, the balls will end up on the table at some point. I want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, thumbs up. Create some fake accounts more. Thumbs up. If you did not enjoy, I hope you wake up with shit in your pants. As always, drop comments below your thoughts on the play and let me know who you like for Thursday Night Football. Be sure to drop a comment either way because, again, no one likes silent stalkers. We have a fun-filled weekend coming up with content. I'm going to have a college football play for you for Friday night. I'm going to be live talking college football on Saturday. And then Sunday back with the guys in DFS talking more. We have the Print Factory as well with JSU Big T as well. That'll be this week on the DFS end. So look, Run Pure Sports, Run Pure Bets, a lot of fun action going on. So soak it all up. NFL, college football, and still got Joey work crushing MLB, UFC as well, live shows. I will be back again, as mentioned, with a college football video for Friday. But until then, be sure to gamble responsibly. Stay safe, folks, and run pure.